Hey everybody, thanks for checking out another Missouri Welding Institute Monday. I want to start by reminding everyone one final time that this coming Saturday, October 19th, Missouri Welding Institute is holding their open house on location in Nevada, Missouri. Anyone interested in checking out future classes there ought to swing by. It's going to be a $1,000 scholarship towards your future tuition there. So come by, meet the staff, check out the facilities, and I hope to see you there. So this week, I've got a couple fishing tips for you guys on how I select a fluorocarbon or a monofilament fishing line. So I've got some super old school philosophies on things I'm still hanging on to. So be sure to drop a comment and let me know what you guys think. So my rule of thumb for selecting a monofilament fishing line over a fluorocarbon is for any visual techniques. So of course the topwater, I always like using a monofilament fishing line for one reason, and that is the buoyancy aspect of it. I don't want a fluorocarbon line for this technique because I don't want it to sink in front of the bait and drag the nose of the bait down. A monofilament will float in front of the bait and, give it the best action possible. So in addition to that, I always like a monofilament for glide baits, and I love throwing a mag draft in the springtime. And the worst thing you can do on those two baits is jerk it away from a big one. You get excited. I get just as excited as everyone whenever I see a good one swim up behind one of those baits. And I want the stretch quality that monofilament provides whenever that good one does grab it. In addition to that, with these really expensive glide baits, I feel like a monofilament can take the abuse of casting it over and over. If you get a couple backlashes, you're not going to get that bad spot in your line that ultimately leads you casting off a $200+ glide bait out in the middle of the lake. So I definitely like that quality. Here's a really weird one for you, is I like a big monofilament for flipping still. I know it does have stretch in the line whenever you're setting the hook on a good one, but I do offset that by using a little bit stiffer rod to get that big fish out of heavy cover. In addition to that, I do like how a monofilament will make that flipping bait fall a little slower, and whenever you do impart some action and give that bait a hop or whatever, it's going to make that bait hang there for a second or two, and I really do think that'll draw a couple extra strikes for you. And here in the Ozarks, we don't have to deal with it too much, but, zebra mussels, things of that nature are super hard on line. And I do feel like, in a flipping situation or whatever, a monofilament will withstand that kind of abuse a little bit better. And when it does get a bad spot in the line, I do feel like it stands up a little bit better than a fluorocarbon whenever it's been taking that abuse all day. Another weird one is for my cranking. I love using monofilament on almost all my crankbaits due to the fact that I feel like I can throw it further. I feel like the castability is just a little bit better than the fluorocarbon. I do miss some of the non-stretch qualities of the fluorocarbon, but I offset that once again by using a little bit stiffer rod so I can keep good contact with my crankbait. Now that's where I do switch over to a fluorocarbon is my lipless crankbaits. I'm usually throwing it around grass, so I do like the no stretch. If I get a little blade of grass on my treble hook on a lipless crankbait, I can rip it free, and then on top of that, I've got the no stretch and the sensitivity overall that you need for that kind of lipless crankbait. A big rule of thumb for fluorocarbon fishing for me is any bottom bait. So whether it's flipping a little finesse jig or throwing a big worm, I was really reluctant to switch over. I was just setting my ways with monofilament, but now that I've switched over, I truly feel like I catch more fish due to the fact of just generally just feeling the bite overall. And I do feel like fluorocarbon makes you way more efficient whenever you start working a bottom bait through heavy cover. I feel like you can feel every little limb on a brush pile or every big rock where it makes you slow down and, work that bait through the cover versus jerking it through and getting hung up and, thus keeping you more efficient. I do like a fluorocarbon for almost all my forward-facing techniques. I will use some braid with a leader and everything, but I do like the fact that there's no stretch in deep water whenever you're fishing super deep. I think a monofilament stretches a little too much, and then you start having fish jump off because you never really got a good hook in them overall. Alabama rigging, I have 100% gone to a fluorocarbon. I used to use braid all the time, but I just don't like the sound that the braid puts off coming through your guides down to your A-rig. I really do think the fish can hear that, and I think, a fluorocarbon has the same no stretch quality as braid. Not quite as much, but good enough. I have tried using monofilament. It's just got too much stretch for me. So I'm all fluorocarbon on my A-rigs. And, with forward-facing sonar, you can kind of see where your bait's at to, help keep you not hung up all day. So Once again, some off-the-wall philosophies on things. I hope you guys like it. And, you know, once again, the good rule of thumb is any bottom baits, I'm always reaching for a fluorocarbon. And for most visual techniques, I'm usually reaching for a monofilament. So, hope this tip helps. Let me know what you guys think, and I hope to see you next Monday.